Good day, wonderful skiers. In this video we're gonna look at the one mistake beginner to intermediate skiers do when shredding their powder, or actually more like skidding about in the powder. And you have to fix this so you can start shredding the powder. So the one common mistake people do is that they're skiing too slow. The main issue with skiing too slowly is that it's really hard to turn the skis around when you're really slow. Look at that. Avalanche! It's a good reminder. It can be dangerous out there. If you're skiing too slow and try to turn the skis really fast, it's easy that a ski gets caught and you really have to force the skis around the turn. And often you traverse as well, maybe, making you almost have to stem in between, and it's really easy to catch an edge or have the skis do different things if you're slow. Those turns I just made. And you might be doing similar turns because you are a bit fearful, which is understandable. And that makes you do too many turns, too close turns, too much of a traverse in between the turns, and all of this is going to make it really hard to make a nice powder turn. And that's going to get a lot easier with more speed, where we make the turns a little bit longer. It can be really difficult to learn to ski the powder, so consider joining one of our ski technique camps or introduction to freeride skiing camps. Maybe see at one of them next season. Ciao! Let's learn what happens if you ski too fast. Not too fast, just faster.
Let's have a think about what happens when you ski fast. First of all, I let the speed build up early on in the run, so that the skis start floating nicely. And when the skis float, they also become rather reactive, that I don't need high edge angles to make pretty nice swooping turns like these. Just roll the feet, the knees a bit, and they start turning. If you also incorporate the hip when doing this, you can close the turns more and experience some rather exciting sensations.
That's enjoyable. Remember that if you're skiing the powder, avalanches can happen and they can kill you. So make sure that you got a transceiver so you can get found and find others. Shovel and a probe in your backpack, and as a bonus you can also have one of these avalanche backpacks. If you don't have these things or don't know how to use it, the only place you can ski powder is powder on slopes or avalanche secured freeride runs. Here in Switzerland they're yellow. Remember that. Or go and learn. Do an avalanche course or see a mountain guide. Let's continue. Start practicing powder skiing with speed. And the first thing we're going to learn is where to find good practice settings. The best place to get started on is a groomed piste with 20 centimeters of fresh powder. Hard to find, but possible if you're up early in the morning, directly after snowfall. Second good place is kind of like here, avalanche controlled, yellow run, maybe 25 degrees steep with some rolling terrain. Because then you can use the rollers as something that you can straight line towards and ski up on. Or that it goes from steep to flat. Because if you get true powder, you get a lot of friction, so you slow down quite easily. So you don't need to fear going out of control, becoming fearful, and doing all those mistakes we talked about earlier. This could be a nice section of slope, for example. We can let the ski build up, and then it flattens off, and then the flatness could then slow you down. Wow, dust on crust. If you follow the steps of trying to ski where the slope's good for this, where it flattens out, you have a roller, but you still end up out of control, which will happen sometime. Here are 3 strategies to deal with it. First one is simply that you close the turns a bit more and then repeat them. That will slow you down. Next way is basically you commit a lot to closing one turn and then just traverse out. That traversing is going to slow you down a fair bit. And then the last one I'd like to call the powder emergency stop, which is basically a hockey stop where you commit a lot up the hill. You don't even care about if you fall in the hill. It's all about stopping. I know I've done this several times when I'm skiing in the trees. If a random tree is suddenly in my way. Down. Movement. Wow. And I need to stop now before I hit the tree and injure myself. Oh, quite shallow indeed. Oh, speed out of hand. Woo. And you just commit up the hill before you smack into that tree. All right, here's a pretty good place to let that speed build up with the safety of coming up this roller here. And when you do this, try to straight line and really feel how the skis are starting to float better and better as the speed increases.
After you felt the float, we're now going to make it a bit harder by starting to roll the feet and the knees.
Feel how you're floating nicely, doing these 6 turns. And it's obviously nice if you can do a nice hockey stop too. When doing these turns, you should think of it as a railroad drill, with the feet a little closer than usual, and you start really by twisting the ankles from side to side, initiating the turns from the feet. These turns are going to be really open, snaking their way down, and it's going to be really beneficial to your powder skiing because you need speed. That's a nice stretch of slope. So first, let that ski speed build up a little bit, then start rolling them ankles a little bit. Ah, it feels so good. And hopefully you'll feel that sensation that is just like carving on the slope, but you get that sweet powdery feeling. After railroads, I suggest that you practice getting a bit of a gentle weight shift in. Let me explain what I mean. First of all, the feet, still roll them, get the knees on board too, but then also dare to get that hip a little bit on the inside of the turn. And then it's a good idea that you try to keep the upper body a little bit upright. It's gonna make it a lot better. Rolling the feet and bring the feet. Oh yeah, that was pretty shitty. Whoa. Okay, we start over. Well, you want to have consistent slope, you also want consistent snow. That was quite surprising. So we start rolling the feet, then the knees, and then dare to get that hip into the turn a little bit. Push up and turn a little bit. Roll feet and knees, hip on the inside. Oh yeah, these are the turns we're talking about. Make a little 8 here at the end. And a nice little stop turn. Powder skiing and balance. Since we ideally should ski with a bit more narrow stance than usual to make the skis turn like one unit, that's going to cost us some of our nice balance. And here I suggest that you get your arms forwards and out, a bit more than usual. It's going to help us with that balance from side to side, but also rotational balance, because that's often an issue with beginning intermediate powder skiers. It's also worth mentioning the poles to get better balance. First thing is this simple pole touch or pole plant. Should be done with the arms far out still, with a little rotation of the pole simply. You'll be surprised how much it's going to help you. When skiing powder is common, I do it too sometimes, that I drag sometimes the inside pole, sometimes the outside pole a little bit in the snow. And it can help you to rotate and ski in the direction where you want to go. But the issue is that sometimes people drag the inside pole at the end of a turn, making you rotate up the hill when you actually want to start the next turn. So be careful with that. So that was quite a lot to think about. So I suggest you practice until the feet, knees, the weight shift starts feeling okay. Also the arms and the poles are doing kind of what they should. Then once that feels good, shift the focus to just the tactics of the turn shape. How big do you want them to be? Make them rather big. Close them somewhat, but not so much that you lose too much speed, because we still want to bring a fair bit of speed from one turn to the next, so we get a beautiful flowing performance down the hill. Something that is satisfying to the eye and camera, so you look dope on social media and you can impress your friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. Maybe check out the videos up there, or even better, join one of our freestyle camps, ski technique camps, introduction to freeride skiing, or perhaps freeride camps. Maybe we'll be at one of them, and see you in the next video. Ciao!